Well, Yere, they say that where you live shouldn't determine whether you live yet, or for far too many cancer patients in the developing countries that still, what's that? They often say where you live shouldn't determine whether you live yet. For far too many cancer patients in developing countries, that's still the heartbreaking reality.
Yeah, absolutely. Here in Nigeria, almost 130,000 new cancer cases are recorded every year, and far too many lives are lost simply because treatment comes too late or costs too much.
But today, there is a real ray of hope, a change that could finally turn the tide.
Absolutely. Nigeria has joined a groundbreaking global partnership that's set to redefine cancer care. It's called the Innovative Cancer Medicine Demonstration Study.
Yes, this collaboration between the federal government and four foreign organizations is being implemented at the National Hospital in Abuja.
Through this program, patients battling advanced colorectal cancer will, for the first time, receive immunotherapy, a cutting-edge treatment that helps the body's immune system fight cancer.
That's true. The good news is that it is completely free of charge.
I think you should say that again.
It is completely free of charge. And to make it happen, the Nigerian government has secured 7 billion naira to support the project, covering treatment, diagnostics, and patient follow-up.
Now, this initiative isn't just about medicine, it's about access and hope. The 7 billion naira commitment signals that Nigeria is serious about delivering world-class cancer care.
So, over the next 18 months, experts will evaluate how to make this innovation sustainable nationwide.
And if all goes well, immunotherapy could soon be part of the National Health Insurance Scheme.
Well, this will give every Nigerian, regardless of background or income, a fair fighting chance to beat cancer and live well. The Innovative Cancer Medicine Demonstration Study is our focus on Good Morning Nigeria today. Thanks for joining us. I am Ademola Adeoye.
Oh, yes, and I join Ademola to welcome you to the program. I'm Henry John. We're live on the network service of the NTA. We're right at our headquarters in Abuja. This is the largest TV network in Africa. You need to be reminded just so you can stay with us all through for the program and, of course, our subsequent programs after Good Morning Nigeria. Brilliant package put together by Ibrahim Dan Hamidou. Many thanks for that. And that sets the tone for the conversation this morning. And joining us right here in the studio is Professor Bello Abubakar Muhammad, who is the President Association of Radiation Clinical Oncologists of Nigeria and Principal Investigator, Innovative Cancer Medicine Study. Many thanks for joining us, Prof.
Thank you for having me.
All right. All right. Also here for the conversation is Kevin Marks. He's the Chief Legal Officer, Parker Institute for Cancer Immunotherapy. It's a pleasure to have you.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good. Well, still joining us here is Aisha Ejigbo. She's the Program Manager, NCD Clinton Health Access Initiative. Aisha, it's good to have you join us on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
So joining us via Zoom is Professor Martins J. Murphy. He's the Chairman, Society for Translation Oncology, and Chair, President Bush CEO Roundtable on Cancer. Glad to have you on the program, Professor Murphy.
It's a delight and an honor to be with you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now let's kickstart our conversation by coming back to the studio, and let's start with Professor Bello. Tell us, let's start with the big picture. What exactly is the Innovative Cancer Medicine Demonstration Study? What is it all about, and why is it such a milestone for Nigeria?
So I think we'll start by defining what exactly are innovative cancer medicines. So these are advanced medicines that have been developed based on certain attributes, such as the immune system of the body to fight diseases, or such as biologics or even oncolytic viruses that can be used to treat cancer patients. And their peculiarity is such that the immune system of the body, unlike chemotherapy, is the one that will be triggered to really fight those cancers. And so they are personalized. So they use certain biomarkers, okay? And they are supposed to really revolutionize the cancer care, especially where there is usually no hope, like in advanced diseases, metastatic diseases. And this is the first time we are having something like this, not only in Nigeria, but in sub-Saharan Africa. The study entails using a checkpoint inhibitor called nivolumab that usually target a particular biomarker, what is called the microsatellite instability domain, of the cells. Now, what does that mean? It means that the patients are really, the disease rather than the patients are tested to know if they have this microsatellite instability.
Good.
And that will confer a effectiveness of this particular drug for this particular type of patients. So why is it important and why is it a milestone? One, we have a high prevalence of metastatic colorectal cancers in this country. And most of the metastatic...
What you call it what?
Okay, so metastatic, that means advanced colon and rectal cancers.
Okay.
The prevalence is going very high. Used to be the first cancer in Nigeria, but now with all the data that is coming up, it has really moved to the second cause of death, really in young people as well as in adults.
Okay.
So getting treatments really for those patients that have the disease has spread has been a very daunting concern. And as a result, we developed this study to see how effective, how can we manage this type of drugs. Because until now, the fear has always been, the drug is not so new in the market internationally, but it's new in Nigeria because there has always been a concern about safety, about our health system, whether we are able to manage really the side effect of this particular type of drugs. And importantly, what will be how effective and acceptable, how our patients are really ready to accept this kind of new drugs. So that is why it's a milestone until the study was supposed to be conducted in quite a number of countries in Africa. Unfortunately, those were unable to meet up all the regulatory processes and they dropped out. But Nigeria, we've been able to scale through and we have started this study.
Professor Mohammed, thank you for that opening explanation of what this is about. But please, for someone watching, you said colorectal cancer. That's cancer of what?
So it is cancer of the large bowel and also the lower part of the large bowel, which is the rectum. So it is the large bowel, the intestine. Okay? So that is the colon, the large bowel, as well as the lower part, which is the rectal part of it, where feces is actually stored.
Okay, so I'm wondering that you're here. Some people will probably be hearing about this cancer for the first time. There are other cancers that are quite popular and always in the news: breasts, cervical, prostate, and the rest. So why colorectal cancer?
Well, because colorectal cancer has not been given so much attention. That is one. And two, there is a high prevalence of colorectal cancer. And three, a lot of the patients don't really present early. because we have a screening programs, but a lot of people don't even know about it, just like you mentioned. So people don't actually come to the hospital until the disease is already advanced. A colleague of mine yesterday just walked into me and said that he saw some blood in his stool, and he went to do some investigations, and lo and behold, he has a colon cancer, and he did a CT scan staging investigation. He already has spread to his liver and his lungs. And he's quite healthy. He looks healthy anyway, but the disease is already advanced. So it's a silent killer of many, many of our patients. And when it is advanced, most of the conventional drugs hardly work. The disease will continuously progress. And as a result, we need to find an innovative way of taking care of it. And that is where these drugs come in. This is not a new drug, like I said. It has been tested. It has been approved internationally by the FDA, by the EMA in Europe and so many other countries for many, many years. And the drug is used not only in metastatic colorectal cancer, but this study is focusing particularly on colorectal metastatic, that is advanced, those that have spread colorectal cancer. But the disease can be used for many, many other diseases, melanomas, kidney cancers, and so on and so forth.
So does that mean that patients who are on this treatment would technically be receiving treatment for other kinds of diseases? Or rather, is this a prevention for other kinds of cancer?
Not really. So
Okay.
it's purely for treatment, treatment of advanced diseases, those that have progressed on other treatments, and they literally, it's a lifeline really for them, because they have no other many options to go, going forward. So this is what we will use going forward to save them literally.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's bring in Aisha here. Aisha, tell us about CHAI involvement in this. CHAI is known for its strong partnership in global health answers. So what role is CHAI playing in this particular initiative?
Yeah, thank you for that. Like you said, CHAI is a global health organization. We work in over 35 countries across the world. And our work is really supporting the government of those countries where we work around strengthening health systems to deliver, to deliver treatment for, a lot of diseases. We work across a number of program areas, HIV, TB, malaria, NCDs like cancer that we're talking about now, assistive technology, to name but a few. So to the question around our role in this ICM study, it is really a multi-stakeholder partnership, right, with Professor Bello at the National Hospital. PICE here, and BMS and Roche, who are unfortunately not on the show today. And our role builds on the work we've done for the past 18 years in the country, particularly around the Cancer Access Program. Okay. So back in 2016, we started working with the National Cancer Program in Nigeria here. And the issue we tried to address or solve for then was, availability of quality cancer medicines. We have a number of patients living with cancer in Nigeria, right? But the issue around access to quality medicines was a big problem. So what we did, which is something that we're very known for at CHAI, is called market shaping. Okay. So back then, we, at the global level, got negotiations with manufacturers, got those partnerships to drive down the cost of over 30 anti-cancer medicines in Nigeria. We were able to drive down the cost to over about 50%, of the market pricing. We were able to drive that down. So across the country right now, we have 24 centers that are on the Cancer Access Program. And from the Cancer Access Program, we have over 6,000 patients that are currently able to, access quality medicines at a much more reduced pricing. So the backdrop, I provided this background because this is the backdrop of the work that we are doing now, right? So it's in line with our, kind of like our mandate to support countries for health system strengthening and improve access to life-saving commodities. And on this ICM study, we're kind of like, if I'll say facilitators, working with Prof. and Kevin around program implementation to ensure that the study is implemented effectively. So think supply chain, think quantification, think logistics, data analysis, and of course working with government to push for the policy backing that we need once the study is over based on the evidence we would have generated.
All right, many thanks, Aisha. Let's get to Kevin now. You're from the Parker Institute for Cancer Immunotherapy.
Correct.
And you are the Chief Legal Officer. Speak to us about why it's important that Nigeria is a part of this pioneer. It's a pioneer study, right? So why is it important for you that Nigeria is a part of it?
So it's an important part of PICE. It's easier to say PICE than the Parker Institute for Cancer Immunotherapy. It's an important part of PICE is accessibility and ensuring that treatments actually make its way to patients. So back in 2018, when this project was announced, it was important to us not just to focus on the developed countries, but look in a partnership together with CHAI, BMS, and there were other companies at the time, to see and experiment from a high-risk perspective how, as Aisha described, to work through the distribution chain, to work through a collaborative environment between nonprofits and for-profits to ensure that we could provide access to individuals, regardless of the country in which you live. So that was sort of our mission and why we came into the
How many
fold.
countries are involved in this?
Well, right now we're down to one. I think we started with...
Uganda, Kenya, and Nigeria. But
Yeah.
Nigeria, last man standing.
Oh, great! All African countries.
Correct.
Yes. Is there a reason for that? Does it look like this colorectal cancer is more dominant in Africa?
No, because I think when the original project was proposed and we were looking at multiple demonstration projects, it was multiple forms of cancer in different countries. Nigeria seemed to focus on colorectal cancer.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Now let's move. Let's bring in our Zoom guest. That's talking about Professor Murphy. Professor Murphy, you have been. Let me see now. Professor Murphy. Okay, you have led global conversation around cancer innovation. So let's get, how does Nigeria, in this instance, involvement in this study fit into your global movement?
Well, first of all, it's a privilege and a delight to be amongst you and to be able to salute really leaders, global leaders that have made this possible and now actual. In fact, I think today, Friday, the first patients that have already been enrolled and received their first treatments will receive their second round of therapy today. And in a way, this really marks not just a new advance, which is true, it does, but it really heralds a new era, an era in which one might call them smart medicines. And certainly nivolumab is an example of a innovative medicine that marshals the immune system, that apparatus with which we have been endowed over eons of evolution to recognize tissues and organisms that are foreign and to be able to destroy them. In the patient with cancer, that mechanism has become weakened or failed. And here is a drug, a smart drug in a sense, and nivolumab is precisely that challenges and wakes up and directs in a way the immune system to re-recognize these malignant, these maverick cells that grow inexorably when they ought not grow. They do, and in this case, they're growing in the lower intestine. And the fact that this can be done and is being done under the inspired direction of Professor Bello Abubakar is the heralding in not only sub-Saharan Africa, but across the continent, that this not only can, with the help of CHAI and of the Parker Institute, and the benevolence of Bristol Myers Squibb providing the drug, and Roche Diagnostics providing these very important biochemical studies. This collaborative union, along with the National Hospital of Nigeria, is showing that this now is possible. This demonstration will not only provide new hope, justifiable hope for these fortunate patients that will be able to be registered, but the outcomes of it will be broadcast, published in peer-reviewed literature around the world. And there is the epoch of which we're now welcoming this week. So it's an honor for me to be here, because it's the realization of a hope and a dream of so many, myself included, but those in the studio, especially Professor Bello Abubakar and Kevin and Aisha, and those unable to be here, joined his team that made this happen. I salute you.
Professor Murphy, we'll return to you shortly. Let's get back to Professor Muhammad now. You've been mentioned many times by almost all the speakers about, what you're doing as regards this study. And you were here, I think, last week when we talked about, cancer and all. But I like you to, when Professor Murphy spoke, he talked about the fortunate patients, right? So is there a selection process as to those who would benefit from this program? Because I understand that it's free. The treatment is free. Is it free? Tell us if it's free. Tell us how you selected the patients that would, take part in this program. And Professor Murphy tried to talk about what the immunotherapy is about. So break that down for us so that, the layman watching can understand what's happening. The drug goes in and that's the end of all your issues, or what? Just make us understand.
So you've asked many questions at the same time, actually.
I apologize.
No, that's fine. So let me start from the beginning. Yes, the drug is free, but there are processes of getting the patients, because there's what is called patient selection and patient recruitment.
Okay.
If a patient has metastatic colorectal cancer, that's the one that has spread and the one that has progressed. So it's a cancer of the lower intestine, the large bowel, that has actually progressed on other treatments, chemotherapy and what have you. So if a patient has that, he brings the tissue, that cancer tissue that's, confirmed that he had that cancer in the first place, and then we will now take it out to our laboratory, and then we will run a specialized test called microsatellite instability. Now that test is we are only able to do it now in the National Hospital, thanks to Roche Diagnostics that are also partners in this study. Okay. They provided the machine, they provided the reagents for us to be able to run that test. And it is run free of charge. Okay, so once that test is conducted, we'll now know if the person has what is called microsatellite instability high or low. Those that have high are the ones that will actually benefit from this particular type of immunotherapy, the nivolumab, the drug. So that is the first process. So once that is confirmed, we now invite the patient to our department and we run a lot of investigations to know that he does not have maybe a very active hepatitis, he doesn't have active tuberculosis, he doesn't have, very fulminant HIV that is not responding to treatment. And then we make sure that his kidney functions, his liver functions, his blood levels, and so on and so forth. So we run a lot of investigations to know that he is fit to receive this drug. And that takes me to the next question you've asked. What is immunotherapy basically? Or what are checkpoint inhibitors? So immunotherapy are drugs that usually use your immune system. So when you get these injections, they tickle your immune system And it is that your immune system that will fight the cancer cells and kill them. So it's your immunity now.
So it's like a booster.
Yes, something like that.
Okay.
So it makes your immune system to recognize those particular cancer cells. And that is why there are so many immunotherapies. And when that happens, you know, the immune system can actually be tickled in such a way that it can cause so many adverse reactions. And those are the ones that Dan Hamidu actually enumerated. You know, you can have reactions to your liver or to your skin, your thyroid, your eyes, basically everywhere. And that is why we're doing this demonstration study, to see how many patients will actually develop those side effects and how do we manage them. And that is why it's a demonstration study. We are not looking for the efficacy of this drug because that has already been established. The FDA has approved this, and it is in the guideline that we have developed for Nigeria and indeed for sub-Saharan Africa. So it's there. We know the efficacy. We know the possible outcome from
Just the
the
side
drug.
effects.
Yes, but the side effects, acceptability, and how we are able to manage those side effects as Nigerians, as Africans, is what is going to be the outcome of this study.
You talked about the selection process. I didn't quite get the term, but you said those that present with high are the ones who are selected. Those that present with low. So what if just those with the high? I don't know the term. Maybe you'd help us with
MSI
that.
high.
You know, are the ones chosen. Those with low would progress to high, right? So how is this really going to solve the problem?
No. So that is not how it works.
Okay.
So the microsatellite instability is a biomarker. It's a domain that defines the efficacy of some of these drugs. So when it is very high, it means that they will respond to those drugs. But if it is low, even if you give the drugs, there will be no benefit. So those that have low will not be recruited into this study. Perhaps they will go and have other treatment options.
So how do you manage those with low?
Well, there are so many other treatment modalities, but certainly this study, they will not benefit. So there is no point you give a drug that the person will not benefit. But there are different, treatment modalities for colorectal cancer. So those are the ones that will go to the other side. But for this study, that is being anchored by Chai, by Roche, and all that. And like you said, it's free. Yes, it is free. So those investigations that I have told you about, they are all free. Well, they are not free because somebody is paying for it. Pisces is paying for it. Chai is paying for it. They have already made sure, and we are recruiting 30 patients for a period of 18 months.
For now?
Yes, for now. And that is when we will now bring out all the data.
Are you done with the recruitment process already?
No, we just started.
We just started.
We just recruited about 5 patients only.
Okay, so does that mean that those who have this condition can now begin to come to the National Hospital?
Absolutely. So we have a recruitment process. We have the list of, we have a flyer. Unfortunately, I didn't bring it here. Maybe I should have. We have a team, of professionals that are all involved in this. With quite a number, sizable number, and they can reach to the National Hospital. They can reach to the they can reach out on the oncology department of the National Hospital, and
is there a number they can call, anything, or email? Because some people are in different parts of this country, and getting to Abuja and also. So
one of the eligibility criteria also is that you are able to come to Abuja for the treatment. Yes, so it is important because we cannot go and do it in another center because they will not be, probably they are not trained yet to be able to recognize the side effects of these drugs. And it is very important. And that is why we are very stringent about all the investigations. We have to be sure that they are absolutely okay. For instance, if somebody has hepatitis, an existing hepatitis, for example, we treat the hepatitis first before we will put him on the drug, because we know that one of the possible side effects is to develop an inflammatory hepatitis. And so if you already have an existing one, will not know whether it's as a result of the drug or is the disease that you already have.
And the treatment is for 18 months.
Yeah, 18 months, yes.
All right. Thank you very much for that clarification and a big insight into that. Aisha, we're talking about sustainability now because, I mean, this will last for 18 months. And after 18 months, what happens? How does CHAI ensure that access to medicine translate into real sustainable healthcare improvement for ordinary Nigerians here?
Yeah, thank you. That's a really great question. And at CHAI, at the heart of what we do, we say something at CHAI that we try to walk ourselves out of, the business. And what does that mean? A key value for us at CHAI is we work at the service of government.
Okay.
And working at the service of government, it's understanding that whatever we do as partners, as NGOs, you are working in a country that is managed by a government. It's like we say, soldier go, soldier come, barrack no they move. The barrack, it's the government. Soldiers, NGOs, we come and go, right? So when we think about sustainability at CHAI, it's really working with the government to ensure that system strengthening I talked about earlier, we're working with the government to ensure system strengthening for health.
Okay.
That way, when we bring things like this in country, it becomes more sustainable. So what would sustainability look for? What would it look like for us from this demonstration study? The output or the results from the demonstration study, and we are able to show that in a resource-limited setting like Nigeria, we can safely administer an advanced medicine like nivolumab. Sustainability starts with negotiations globally. Nivolumab is very, very expensive. The treatment cost for a year, it's over $100,000, right, Prof? For one patient. So it is very, very expensive. And at the heart of what we do at CHAI...
How much is CHAI investing in this?
We are coming with technical expertise. We're a technical partner, right? So it is not the funding. Yes, it is. We're technical partners. Funding for the program is coming from PICE, and then the drugs are coming from BMS, right? So sustainability, back to the question, sustainability will look like global negotiations to drive down the cost of nivolumab, right? Sustainability will look like policy changes around how cancer treatment is managed in Nigeria, because we would have been able to show that we are able to safely, use an advanced medicine like this in Nigeria. So think about policy, working with government to change and update the policy for cancer care in Nigeria. Sustainability would also look like, I've talked about market shaping and bringing down the cost, talked about policy, and even, Nigeria being a hub, right, for this kind of, for this kind of treatment. Because before now, there's no country, at least in sub-Saharan Africa, that has the capacity to do this. So, there's a lot of opportunities that we see from this study, that if we're able to demonstrate that, yes, as a country, we have the capacity, think personnel like Prof, and then we have the capacity, we have the institutions, we have the enabling environment that can safely, use advanced medicines that usually will be available in the global north, but we don't have them here. So we are able to show that. And when we think about, I just wanted to piggyback on what I said earlier for sustainability and market shaping. I wanted to give an example of something that just happened recently in the global health space, right? Okay. There is a treatment called lenacapavir. It is a preventive tool for HIV, right? Right now, that drug is for a patient per year, I think it's about $28,000. But because of global negotiations that CHAI and other partners have been able to push for, from 2027, we're going to be having those drugs in Nigeria at $40 per year.
Wow.
Think about it, $28,000 per year to $40 per year. So those are the kind of, when we think sustainability, those are the kind of things we think about at CHAI, and the possibilities that are possible that can come out from this study.
And what has been the response of policymakers? Because you said you work with policymakers.
It's been outstanding, I must say. If you, for those who were privy to see the launch on October 21st, you'll see that the Minister of State, Dr. Salako, was there, and we have the backing of government. So again, very important, right? So in terms of government support, it is there. Government has told us we support this. We're with you fully, and they are looking forward to the result from the study to begin to inform those policy changes I talked about earlier.
All right,
Okay.
many thanks.
Thank you.
Paisi, let's get to you. Rather, Mr. Kevin, you represent Paisi. Tell us what you're investing in this. She said technical support. You're, bringing in the funds and all. Tell us what you're investing in this. And I would like to ask, do you intend to continue with such programs in Nigeria, not just with colorectal cancer? Because I'm thinking that if we have this for breast cancer, for example, breast cancer, cervical
for the
cancer, prostate, so many Nigerians are actually suffering from these cancers. And, like Doctor said, or Prof said, they're in our faces every day, right? So speak to us. Is Paisi just going to do this and walk away? Or you want to stay with Nigeria and help us deal with some of these issues that we have?
So that's a great question. Thank you. So initially, Paisi had a very large commitment, around $1 million commitment to sponsor this project, together with BMS, who also came in not only with the donation of drug product, but also a donation of dollars into it. Our primary, and it was interesting hearing Aisha, because it was looking at the same philosophy of establishing a pathway, establishing a system by which there is a distribution network, there's accessibility to a particular drug that can then be transferred to other drugs and other opportunities throughout the country. It is the opportunity to really engage for-profit organizations to show that these are viable markets for their product, because they know they have very trained individuals within these institutions. So they're not shipping product into a country that goes to waste, right? There's viable chances that it does get to patients. So that's what Paisi is about. If there's another opportunity that presents itself, of course we will take a look at it. But we believe through this project that we've helped lay the foundation of what can then be used for the distribution of other drugs to impact those cancers that you described.
Okay, thank you very much, Max. Let's go to our Zoom guest. That's Professor Murphy. Professor Murphy, from your perspective, you have over 5 decades of healthcare and cancer research experience. That's huge. From your perspective, what does this partnership say about Africa's readiness to adopt world-class cancer therapies?
You've just said it. And it said it in a way in the title that it's a demonstration project. It is going to demonstrate not only the opportunity, but the reality that in the hands of leaders like Professor Bello Abubakar and the team that he has assembled at the National Hospital and now throughout Abuja, that the very best of treatments anywhere in the world are actually available, will become available. In this instance, it's demonstrating, I believe will demonstrate soundly, that this immunological drug will actually be found to be effective and in the hands, again, of these experts, safe. Or that is to say, when there is a reaction, that there is the knowledge and the availability of therapy to bring about a solution to that reaction. So it's wonderful that Good Morning Nigeria is actually heralding this advance, this new era. And I salute you for bringing Professor Abubakar amongst you, and also for Aisha and Kevin and all the others, BMS and Roche, for enabling this great day to happen. Yeah, I think it's going to be looked upon in not decades to come, but just in years to come, as the door opening to a new opportunity and a new era.
All right, many thanks, Professor Murphy. Let's get to Professor Abubakar here. Very interesting conversation. I'm excited that this is happening in Nigeria. Yeah, it's brilliant. It actually shows that a lot can be done here. But I want you to speak to us about how equipped the National Hospital is, because earlier you talked about the fact that you cannot have this elsewhere, because of the things that you need, to carry out this demonstration study. Speak about that. And then when you talked about immunotherapy, you talked about a drug that boosts your immune system. And I'm thinking that if the immune system of any individual is high, of course, you can deal with any other kind of disease, right? Whether cancer, whether diabetes, or whatever it is. So are there studies, ongoing at the moment that you're privy of that can get to this stage, like colorectal cancer, just so that we can now begin to deal with other issues using immunotherapy and not chemotherapy as we do at the moment? I don't know if...
Yeah, great questions. Again, you've asked many questions at the same time. So the first one, I think, is how equipped is the National Hospital. You see, I mentioned that this study is going to test our health systems, and it has been doing it. It took us almost 5 years to get to where we are from the time that we conceptualized this study in the first place. And most of the things that happened are bordering around our health system, not only at the National Hospital, but involving regulatory agents and so on and so forth. So it is testing all that, and we want to see how we can get it better. Okay, so it's the same thing at the National Hospital. Until now, we didn't have the ability to do molecular testing, which is the MSI. Now we have that ability, and going forward, if we're able to get maybe better machines and so on, we will be able to do even other molecular testings. So that is developing capacity as well. And for the first time, we're doing this in the volume study. We have actually had the theory. Now we are looking at the practical aspect of it, and that is why we have a whole team. Every day we sit down and look at the patient critically and ask questions about his disease, about his well-being, his quality of life, and so on and so forth. And that is why that team involves not only doctors, but we have nurses, we have pharmacists, we have data analysts, we have patient navigators that call the patient regularly to ask questions about their well-being, whether they have seen anything that is unusual and so on. Because immunotherapy, like I said, tickles your immune system. And when that happens, other organs can get involved. And if you are not able to recognize those symptoms, you'll not be able to treat those side effects.
Okay.
Most of the concerns around immunotherapies, because it's not only one drug, right? There are so many other drugs for so many other things. You made mention of breast cancer. There are specific type of breast cancers, like the triple negative, that you can actually use fantastic immunotherapy and get them cured, literally, okay? But if you are not able to recognize the side effects, then you are not going to manage patients with immunotherapy. And that is one of the key things. If you don't have the capacity, if you don't have the know-how, you don't have the expertise and the resources to be able to manage side effects, you don't even dabble into immunotherapies. And that is why it has been so difficult for Africans to accept immunotherapy. But we are fascinated that what is obtained out there is also possible to be done right here. And this is what the demonstration trial is trying to define at this moment.
Okay, beyond the treatment, what does this study mean for Nigeria's capacity, especially in cancer research and oncology training?
Yes, so we are developing capacity, and from here we want to expand it to other centers. Our experiences will be shared. Among others, I happen to be the president of the Association of Clinical and Radiation Oncologists in Nigeria, which means that all the clinicians are really looking at us and they are asking questions. Okay. And some of them will actually come and see how we are doing things so that they can also develop their own studies with other immunotherapies. So we feel that this is just the gateway. This is what is going to unleash all the goodness of immunotherapies. They are fantastic drugs because they give better outcome of treatment even in advanced diseases. And Nigeria have over most of our patients present at very advanced stage, almost 86%. So we are able to use this type of drugs. We will be able to take care of most of the patients that are presenting with advanced disease. So this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Okay.
This is the beginning of better things to come. And like Aisha mentioned, the government of Nigeria, the Minister of State for Health and Social Services is so excited about it. When he came for the lunch, he stayed there throughout.
Okay.
And in his talk, he was very clear about it. They want to see what is the data, what will be the outcome, so that this will shape policy going forward about immunotherapy and indeed about cancer care in this country.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, we already have some comments. I mean, we would just want to remind our audience, our viewers, that you can contribute to this conversation by sending in your comments or questions so that our guests can respond to them. And the number is displayed on your screen. But we already have some comments here. So let me just quickly read out these ones before, so that Prof can respond to them. Then later, Yenre can also do same. The first one is from Judith Nwange from Benue State. He says, thank you, Yenre and Ade, for this program this morning, Innovative Cancer Medicine Study. My question is, what are the symptoms today to help us create more awareness? Because we have a cancer center, too, in Makodi. Then the second one is from Nosa from Delta State, Agbo. It says, good morning, NTA crew. This your program, Innovative Cancer Medicine, is very good. Thank you. Then this one is, can this innovative cancer, this from John Kudaka from Jos, Plateau State. It says, can this innovative cancer medicine treat prostate cancer? Prof, you want to respond to...
Yes. So the first one, I'm glad that he's calling from Makodi.
Yeah.
And one of our members, Dr. Oteni, is the oncologist in Makodi, and he's very much involved. Literally, he's aware of this study. Okay. And he's also trying to see how he can send patients to us. So he can just go to the cancer center in the university teaching hospital in Makodi and see Dr. Oteni. He will give him all that he needs to know about it.
So likewise in other cancer centers across the country.
There's a question that talked about symptoms. Yes. There's a question that talked about symptoms. Yes. I'd like you to respond to that.
But I don't know which particular symptom.
Colorectal cancer, because you already said it's not.
So I have mentioned most of the symptoms really is blood in the stool. That's the very first one that the patients tend to have. They may have pains. They will have constipation and so on and so forth. So they are really bad. But importantly, if you see blood in your stool, you should be alarmed. You should really see a doctor.
All right, many
so that's
thanks.
The most important one.
Yeah. But it does not cover prostate cancer like the other person asked.
So prostate cancer is totally another ballgame. And this particular study does not yet involve prostate cancer.
Okay.
But we're hopeful that there are many things coming for prostate cancer as well.
Many thanks, Prof. I'd like to get to Aisha before we take our next set of questions. What's on my mind is, you're a Nigerian. With Chai, you've been able to see what healthcare is like around the world. What's your recommendation, really, for Nigeria as to how we can improve our healthcare system? What are the things do you think we need to put in place just so we can also be at par? Because many thanks to PICE, your organization, otherwise we'll not be having this, right? So what can we do by ourselves just so we can deal with some of the many health challenges that we have?
Oof, that's a great question, but there's so many things to unpack there, right? Because when you think about the challenges we have in our health systems, it's quite a number of them, to be honest, right? What can we do? I think, first of all, and this is something that I believe that as a country we do quite well, the policies, having the necessary policies to innovate. We see things happening where, there's evidence. Most times we actually do follow the evidence in Nigeria. So policy, I think we're good there, right? Funding, it's a major issue. I mean, like I said earlier, the government is very supportive and of the study, but generally for healthcare, funding for healthcare in Nigeria, it's not where it should be. So if we are able to, as a country, think of innovative ways to increase our funding for health. Think about health insurance, for instance. And now we're not even talking about cancer. Let's just talk about health generally, right? Okay. Health insurance right now, coverage is less than 20% for all Nigerians, right? So thinking about how we can support government to improve health insurance. That's something that we can do to also improve uptake of services in health facilities. So funding is one, and like I said, health insurance, like I said, it's a lot. It's a big one to unpack in terms of how we can generally strengthen our health systems in Nigeria. But I think that the political will is there, and with support from donors and partners, we are on that journey already. It's going to take a while, to be honest, right? Because over 200 million people. We say this thing in the development space that when you think about other countries and Nigeria, it's like literally 36 countries in one, because it's a really huge country and the population. So funding is a major one for us, and if you are able to think of innovative ways to increase funding for health, it would go a long way. And then, of course, we have the challenge of human resource in health, right? There's the Jackba syndrome. Our doctors and nurses, they are leaving, for greener pastures. So also thinking of ways to incentivize them to actually, remain in the country. So we can have, these people that are trained to provide service to Nigerians.
That's really very important. We need to retain yes, our expertise. All right, let's bring in Mark before we take our first break. I'm just asking, I'm curious rather, to find out what happens after the successful completion of these 18 months. What happens? What's the next phase? What will be the next phase?
Well, that may be a question better asked to Prof than to me. From a PICE perspective, we're committed to highly innovative medicines and developing those and looking at that from a research perspective, and then translating that and moving those forward. So after this study, which fingers crossed will be incredibly successful, we can now be the advocates to what I was talking about before, we've established a distribution network, we've established the ability of multiple companies to work together on a similar solution, and hopefully be able to continue that advocacy and advancement of that collaboration for the benefit of not only Nigerians, but all sub-Saharan African countries.
Now, Kevin, since you said that's to Professor Mohammed, I'm sure this question is for you, and you'd answer it. You said you hope it will be very successful. So in case it isn't, well, I don't want to be pessimistic because this is a demonstration. But speak, are there frameworks in place to ensure that there's safety, patient safety, right? And then there's compliance to international standards in all of this, just so that, it's not like we're just carrying experiment and then we really do not care whether the patient survive or become better, right? So
yes. Yeah, the development of the protocols related to this study have been... Should be my question. Yeah.
Oh, it should also be your question.
It should, but let me...
Yeah, because you're the legal officer.
No, I'm actually very impressed with the development of the protocol and ensuring that it does meet the highest standard for medical research that would be applied internationally. So, like you said, this is not an experiment. This is a well thought out process. It's a well thought out protocol for the protection of patients. And Prof and I have talked about the adverse event aspect of it and how to ensure that there's adequate support financially and with other medicines if necessary to ensure that the patient's safety is first and foremost in this demonstration study.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll take a break now. So when we return, the conversation will continue. Stay with us.
The counsel of our fathers.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Are you ready? Join us on Reshaping Democracy, a groundbreaking program on the network service of the NTA, where citizens get the chance to ask ministers, heads of ministerial departments, agencies, and other top government officials questions on their performance and delivery of mandates. With no sector of limits, conversations build around bridging communication gaps for feedback and effect as our guests engage with the people they serve.
How does ND foster partnerships with organizations, government agencies, NGOs, among others?
As our leaders give account to citizens' inquiries on good governance, tune in to Reshaping Democracy, a creative concept coming up every Tuesday evening at 10:05 p.m.
This is Reshaping Democracy.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Yari, I think you have some comments.
Yes, yeah. I'll just quickly read some of the comments we have. Well, I'll just read them the way they are. You know, Prof, you'd respond. This one says, good morning, Nigeria crew. May Allah bless you all for always enlightening Nigerians. Please, if they have not partnered with NHIS already, they should do so for the sake of the poor Nigerians who may not have access to them. And secondly, how can they extend this treatment to those in rural areas? I'm sure you respond to that. That's coming from Haji Aladi. Another one says, how can innovative cancer medicine and traditional methods be breached? Ambassador Caleb Lameri from Gindiri in Plateau sent that one. This one says, is the 18-month treatment continuous on a daily basis or based on a structural timetable? Another one says, can one with breast cancer from Enugu access this treatment? That's Maru. My question is to Aisha Ejigbo. How can a person with cancer get assisted to manage the cancer illness? All right. Another one says, are you recruiting patients currently for the study? What should be the responsibility of a patient who wants to be part of this? And lastly, how much will the patient pay? Who is the contact person and details for anyone to be part of this? Dr. Clement Adegbesing, looks like you didn't start early, but of course, I'm sure Professor would, reiterate some of the things we already mentioned. So Aisha, maybe you respond to some, then Prof would attend to the other questions.
I'll take easy ones. So starting with the last question, it is entirely free, right? The treatment, the testing, the diagnostics, everything is entirely free. And even in some cases, if there are issues, because like Prof said, we have patient navigators who are going to be calling these patients to check up on them to make sure they are fine. If there are cases where someone is even unable to afford transportation, there are provisions for that, right?
Wow,
so
great.
yes, it's entirely free. Is patient recruitment ongoing? Yes, it is ongoing. And Prof had said this earlier. Reach out to the National Hospital Oncology Department. Maybe we can get a number to put out there. We have a flyer. You can come to the National Hospital, the Oncology Department, and they will take it from there. I also take the question of the lady, I'm not sure it was a lady, around cancer access generally,
Yes.
right? I'm not a physician, but I was, in my interaction with them, so I'm not going to come from a clinical perspective. So what I will say is, first of all, see a doctor, right? Cancer care, it's not a one-size-fits-all. You would have a team of experts, right? You have a team of experts looking at what the best treatment is for you. From a programmatic or access point of view, I will say there are 24 cancer centers in Nigeria right now. that are on the cancer access program I talked about earlier. I'm not sure where the person is calling or sent a message from, but there are those cancer centers where you can go to receive care at a much more subsidized rate. So, yeah, so that's the feedback I'll have for that person. First of all, access care. You know, go to the experts so they can determine what your treatment course would look like. And then you can benefit from the cancer access program where we have negotiated rates for over 30 cancer medicines.
Yeah, I'm sure that's from the Cancer Fund. I think something like that exists. But Prof,
it's part of it.
Respond.
Well, she has literally answered most of the questions.
So is it the 18 months? Is it a day-to-day? I think it's a question I talked about.
Yeah, there are maybe one or two things there. No, if you are in the rural area, for instance, yes, if you are able to come to Abuja and to the National Hospital, yes, you can be part of this study. So that is, I mean, it's for every Nigerian. So anybody that is able to access, because we can't go to the rural areas and do the treatment. But if the if the people are able to come to Abuja, then we'll be able to treat them.
And if you're taken, you have to be here for 18 months, right?
No.
Okay,
So it's a structured treatment.
Okay.
It's actually a 30-minute treatment.
Oh,
you
great.
know, that is done every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay, so for 18 months. So every person will have about 36 cycles. So every 2 weeks you come, you take the treatment, and you go home.
Okay.
If you have any side effect, then you come back or you call. If it's something that we can tell you what to do while you are still at home, you do that. But if it needs for you to come, you know, you come to the hospital. If there's need for admission, we'll admit you at no cost to you. We'll treat all the possible side effects or whatever is wrong with you at no cost to you, and so on and so forth. So it's free.
Okay.
And the last question, that one interesting one, is the issue of immunotherapies and traditional medicines. Well, traditional medicines are, you know, if you go to China, for example, and you walk into a pharmacy, you will see that 90% are really traditional medicine, while 10% are orthodox, you know. And so they've been developing, they've been developing their traditional medicines.
Okay.
You know, they've been doing a lot of research. So we want to see research around traditional medicine so that we'll be able to bridge that gap. But for now, this study is purely for this particular immunotherapy.
How many doctors are in this program? Are you the only one attending to all the 30 patients you've picked?
No, certainly
And then are all the doctors Nigerians, or you have?
Yes. So all the doctors are working at the National Hospital. I have co-PIs. I have about 5 doctors that are already on the study. And other people are also involved. If you have a patient, you know, we have consultants at the National Hospital. When they have patients, they also send them to us. So it's a whole team, like I said.
Of Nigerian doctors.
All of them are Nigerians, not only doctors, but also pharmacists, also nurses, you know, patient navigators, data analysts. They are all Nigerians.
Fantastic.
And we are working
All right.
at the National Hospital.
Thank you so much, Professor Muhammad. Let's go to our Zoom guest, Professor Murphy. Many Nigerians, for the first time, are hearing the word immunotherapy, including me. I don't know whether Yeri has heard that word before for the first time. And what would you say to demystify that, you know, that word, and how do you begin to breed confidence in this form of treatment? How do you develop confidence in this type of treatment?
It's a wonderful question. Let's take it back one step to what preceded immunotherapy, and that is chemotherapy, chemicals that are used therapeutically. What kind of chemicals? Well, these chemicals really were developed because they killed cells that were rapidly dividing, which defines all cancers that rapidly divide. As I said before, they're miscreant cells that refuse to obey the laws, the molecular laws of the society of normal and healthy cells. Cancer cells divide continually. So these chemicals were developed to kill selectively cells that were undergoing rapid division continually. But remember, there are many other normal, healthy cells of our bodies that are also required to divide. And they were unavoidably also impacted. So the complications from chemotherapy are manifold and very dangerous, or could be. When we took that up from just general chemicals now to immunotherapy, we're talking about immunology. The immunology is what we have been born with, our recognition of self, the cells that circulate, especially the white blood cells in the blood, recognize who I am, what I am, and will importantly recognize non-self, foreign entities, including bacteria, all these, a world filled with microbes in which we have to exist. How is that possible? Our immune system is the surveillance system that recognizes and then has the capacity to go out and destroy those immunologically competent cells will destroy those invaders. There's an invasion from within that could be defined as cancer. And that is, for many reasons that we're still uncovering, is a rupture or a break in our natural immunity, our natural immune fighting apparatus. Immunotherapy is the therapy that awakens and directs or empowers your own immune system to do that which it is already endowed originally, if you will, evolutionarily, to be able to do, to selectively go and kill only those cells, as Professor Bello Abubakar just described, that have a certain molecular shape with clefts and cavities that are recognized by the immune cells, which therefore can selectively go and attack them. That's the importance, is that immune therapy, which we call now our contemporary therapy, which in sub-Saharan Africa is dawning this good morning in Nigeria, is taking it up a whole quantum in our understanding of life itself, but cancer life in particular. I hope that helps.
Mr. Murphy, I'd like to stay with you. I went through your biography quickly, and I realized that you've been married for over 60 years. So it means you've been around for a very long time, even if you don't look it. When it comes to cancer care, you have been in it. You've been in it for more than 25 years, more than 50 years.
50.
Wow. So I want to ask, why are cancer cases becoming a serious concern now? Are there issues? Is it our lifestyle? What exactly has changed? Speak to us, because, in the past, whether colorectal, whether breast, whether any kinds of cancer, they were very minimal. So what's changing?
Wonderful question. And it is the whole environment in which we are privileged to live. Very often, say 50 or 60 or certainly 100 years ago, the opportunity to have longevity was almost nil. It was almost impossible to live beyond a certain age. In fact, 40 was an old age. Why? Because of infectious diseases, the lack of sanitation in general was so dangerous that one didn't have a chance to actually live very long. As all of those public health recognitions began to be addressed by enlightened governments and then the world of NGOs, among others, and communication, the essential nature of being able to communicate to the world, to everyone, rural and urban. That communication began to make us more aware of our health and the responsibilities and opportunities that we have in enhancing our health, which means also ultimately lengthening our healthy lives. So where we stand now in that continuum of development, of recognition of health and disease, is like Professor Bello was describing in terms of the diagnosis for colorectal cancer, cancer of the lower bowel. If we have to wait until we have actual bleeding in our stool, when at surgery that tumor is revealed, it will already be significant in size and likely to have already moved to other potentially vital organs. Our lives are now in threat. How can we change that? We can change that by screening, by going for a colonoscopy, to have that examination where, yes, you're showing it on the screen, where the colon can be examined without surgery safely to identify early polyps that may in fact be malignant. They can be removed readily, and that patient will have been cured of a cancer that, if left to grow for years on, could become life-threatening and life-claiming. So there are a number of vital answers to that very important question that you raised. The common lineage there is that we ourselves must take recognition and responsibility to understand how to stay healthier. And government and wonderful institutions like the National Hospital are there to be promoters of that information.
All right, thank you so much, Professor Murphy. Which means let's come back to the studio now. We have some comments already here. Let me just read one or two out here so that Prof can respond to them. It says, "Good morning, Prof. What's your plans towards prostate cancer, which is becoming more common, maybe due to advancement in medical research?" That's from Mohammed Kabir Sheo. Then this one is, "Good morning. I really like this cancer program. Please, this question go for Aisha. How can we prevent cancer?" But I'm scared of cancer. Frank, this is Frank from Port Harcourt. Now, Prof, I mean, just the question, just a follow-up to that question. A regular, health check is important for us to be able to detect, early, issue of this cancer. But how often would you advise that, people should go for this regular check?
So, Nigeria has developed the National Cancer Control Plan, which is the document that is required as far as cancer care and cancer prevention and cancer services are concerned for every nation. Part of the document is about screening, that is prevention, of cancers. People talk about prostate cancer, what are you doing about it, what you are not doing about it. The most important thing that people need to understand is that you can detect prostate cancer by just a simple blood test, which is the prostate-specific antigen, or PSA, as the case may be. Every person is, at this point, enjoyed to go and do a blood test, a PSA, from the age of 40. That may save his life, because if it is detected early, it can be cured. And knowing the fact that 1 out of 4 black people anywhere in the world will develop prostate cancer in their life journey. So if you are able to do PSA, blood test, simple blood test, from the age of 40, you will be able to pick prostate cancer very early and cure it effectively. But the problem we have is that document, the NCCP, the National Cancer Control Plan, has been costed, but it does not have the financial backing to be executed. So there is no compulsory PSA screening or screening for prostate cancer. There is no compulsory screening for breast cancer or for cervical cancer. As a country, I think that should be institutionalized and make it compulsory, because by the time you have developed the disease, then it's too little too late. Say, for instance, not many people are still interested in doing the HPV testing, okay? And we are not talking of even the screening. Even the prevention, the HPV vaccine, not many people are really interested in it. Even though Nigeria has done fantastically well, Nigeria has been able to, in the last 2 years, to immunize almost 50 million children, which is really, really a wonderful thing. But sustainability is very crucial.
When you say make it compulsory, how would you advise government to make it compulsory? Are you collaborating with policymakers in this regard?
Yes, so you see, if it is costed and it is mandatory that everyone should have those investigations, because
it's the problem of affordability now that is
yes,
the
so that
challenge.
is why it is costed. If it is costed, then there is funding for it.
Okay.
Like this, our study, not many people. The cost of one drug of this test that we are doing is 9.5 million for one cycle for one individual. So BMS has provided drug worth 10 billion naira. Okay? So everything is free and people want to key into it. But if government is unable to cost and get support, then that mandatory thing becomes almost impossible. The vaccination that we are doing, it's basically free, right? And that is why government can make it, compulsory for every child in this country. You are preventing, because you see, cervical cancer, for example, can be prevented. So you don't even develop the disease. Unlike colorectal cancer, you can screen. Unlike breast cancer, you can screen and detect it early. But cervical cancer can be prevented, so you don't even develop it at all in the first place.
The problem, especially amongst those in the rural area, is accessibility. It may be affordable, but what about the accessibility?
So I know that government is also working very hard to strengthen the primary health care.
Okay.
And the primary health care should be the first focal point of screening as well as preventing cancers in the country. If we have been, I think the Honorable Coordinating Minister has been very passionate about that, to make sure that they have strengthened I think they have literally republished all the primary health cares in this country. And that is where people should be going to. So there must be awareness and education, because it is one thing to have them, it is another thing for the people to really key in and be able to access those type of services.
Many thanks, Prof. We need to wrap up this conversation. I'd like to get to Kevin quickly. I can see that PICE is doing quite a lot as far as cancer is concerned, research and training and all. You also have invested in 17 biotech startup companies that are working on next generation cancer immunotherapies. Now, away from this treatment that you're doing for Nigeria, are we going to likely see in the future some of these companies, right here in Nigeria? Because I mean, we're tired of hand downs, right? We want to be in the big picture. Will PICE think about that? Really, I'm asking. Is that a way forward in your collaboration with Nigeria?
Yeah, I think we're really geographically agnostic, which is, so if there's an opportunity here to stand up a company, we would definitely explore investing in those companies. I think primarily in the United States, where our investments are, that is the pathway to patient accessibility on a broader scale, is through a for-profit organization. So obviously, partnering here creates different opportunities for us that we would definitely explore, because we always go back to our core mission, which is making therapies accessible to patients and hopefully making cancer a curable disease. Wherever that happens, we would be supportive of.
Yeah, by the way, Nigeria is the location, just in case you think about that, because I mean, we can reach out to other African countries.
All right.
So, of course, I'm sure that's a good initiative, right?
Okay. Okay, as we round off, let me just ask you this question, Aisha. Beyond colorectal cancer, could this model be extended or expanded to include other cancer types in the future? In just 1 minute.
Well, yes, possibly. And yes, if just one Possibly, but what I will say right now, and just to recap again, that while we're doing immunotherapy, this demonstration study for colorectal cancer, as a country right now, we have a national cancer program, right? And as part of that program, we have what we call the Cancer Access Program. And what does it mean for Nigerians? It means you can access quality, stringent, SRA-approved medications at a much more reduced pricing. So it's one of the things Try working with government is pushing for cancer access and care in Nigeria.
All right, many thanks. We need to go. Professor Bello Abubakar Muhammad, President Association of Radiation and Clinical Oncologists of Nigeria and Principal Investigator, Innovative Cancer Medicine Study. It was a pleasure to have you again today. And yes, we look forward to having you again next week. I mean, we just...
I'm not sure. Yeah, as long as
you have your source for cancer.
We have our in-house professor.
Awareness.
You know, thank you so much, and thank you for the work that you do. We appreciate you. Kevin Marks, Chief Legal Officer, Parker Institute for Cancer Immunotherapy. I just feel that I'm going to have you here some other time because, I mean, PICE is going to do much more in Nigeria. Thank you for this initiative. We do sincerely appreciate you and your organization.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Aisha Ejikwe, Program Manager at Clinton Health Access Initiative, Chai.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Thank you for having
so
me.
much.
Thank you.
And Professor Martin Murphy, Chairman, Society for Translational Oncology and Chair, President Bush CEO Roundtable on Cancer. Thank you so much. Off camera, I want to know the reason for your good looks, despite your age. I'm sure you will share that secret with us. Thank you for being our guest. We appreciate you and the partnership.
BMS that is not here, they are the one that provided the drugs, the nivolumab drug. Unfortunately, they couldn't join.
Okay. We appreciate them.
Provided drug was 10 billion naira, which is really fantastic.
Fantastic.
That's huge.
Thank you so much to all the partners that have made this a huge success. And of course, to the Nigerians too, who are a part of this initiative. Thank you. So if you want to be a part, you know what to do. Get to the National Hospital. I'm Yan Ray John. This is the NTA. Live it locked.
I'm Ademola. Do have a lovely weekend.